Close your eyes and visualize an ordinary day, but without any hassles. Traffic jams don't rob you of your patience, harsh criticisms slip by without hurting you, and even life's losses, however painful they may be, don't rob you of your ability to find peace. This idea seems far-fetched, almost utopian, but for Epictetus, Stoicism makes it possible. For him, true freedom is not a matter of wealth, power, or external circumstances, but rather of internal control. He teaches us that by accepting what is beyond our reach and focusing on what we can change, our reactions, choices, and attitudes, we gain unshakable serenity. But what does this really mean? It's not about being indifferent or insensitive, but about living lightly, even when the world around you is turbulent. It's like being in the eye of a hurricane. The storm may rage around you, but you remain centered. This stance not only preserves emotional balance, but radically transforms your life and your relationships. Epictetus invites us to practice this wise detachment, not as a renunciation of the world, but as an act of empowerment. After all, when we stop being slaves to circumstances and ungoverned emotions, we become truly free. To unravel the transformative impact of Stoicism, we need to look at one of its most powerful foundations, the distinction between what we can control and what is beyond our reach. Epictetus warns us that much of human suffering does not come from circumstances themselves, but from a futile effort to want to change that which is beyond our power. You cannot dictate how others will act, how the weather will behave, or what unexpected challenges will arise in your path. However, there is something that no one can take away from you, the ability to choose how to react to these situations. Our attitudes, decisions, and ways of dealing with life are the true territories where we exercise total control. But this does not mean abandoning the world or disconnecting from it. On the contrary, acting as if nothing bothers us is a practical way of engaging with reality in a more mature way. It is an invitation to redirect the energy we spend fighting against the unchangeable and apply it where it makes a difference. In improving our character, cultivating patience, and seeking a higher purpose. The secret is not to ignore difficulties, but to look at them clearly and say, "What of this is in my hands?" This approach, simple in theory but transformative in practice, teaches us that by focusing on what really matters, we find the strength and freedom to live more fully and in a more balanced way. Let's translate Stoicism into real-life challenges. Imagine a common situation. You receive criticism at work. Often, our automatic response is to react defensively, feel hurt, or even lose motivation. However, with a Stoic perspective, you realize that the criticism itself is not under your control. What really matters is how you choose to process it. You can see it as an opportunity to learn or dismiss it if it is not constructive. The decision is in your hands. Another common example is traffic chaos. It is easy to get overwhelmed by irritation, blame other drivers, or lament the delay. But, according to Epictetus, traffic is one of the countless aspects of life that are beyond our control. So, instead of wasting energy on frustration, you can transform this moment into something useful or enjoyable. How about listening to an inspiring podcast, organizing your thoughts, or simply practicing patience? This change in mindset does not require great sacrifices, just small adjustments in the way you approach situations. Each time you decide to act calmly instead of reacting impulsively, you are strengthening your ability to live a more balanced life. The secret lies in constant practice. It is not about denying your emotions, but about training your mind to direct them in a productive way. Each time you choose what is useful instead of what is automatic, you are shaping a more resilient character and a more relaxed life. After all, as Stoicism reminds us, the outside world is unpredictable, but the power over how you deal with it is exclusively yours. Acting as if nothing can shake you is not about pretending that problems don't exist, but rather about accessing an inner strength capable of transforming challenges into opportunities for growth. This approach, far from being apathy, reveals a deep emotional intelligence. It teaches us to choose calm over chaos and clarity over confusion. Epictetus knew that life is full of difficulties, and yet he challenged us to view these experiences as tests of our character. He reminded us that disruption comes not from the event itself, but from the narrative we create around it. If you change the way you interpret something, you also change the impact it has on you. For example, losing something you value may bring pain, but continued suffering comes from insisting on fighting the fait accompli. When you accept what you cannot change, you make room for serenity and, in doing so, pave the way for you to respond in a more constructive way. This change in the way you see the world not only relieves stress but also strengthens your ability to cope with adversity. Every time you decide not to be a slave to your circumstances, you reaffirm your freedom. Every time you focus on what is within your control, you strengthen your resilience. Epictetus taught us that life will not be free of difficulties, but it can be lived with ease. Not because problems disappear, but because you learn to deal with them more wisely. True transformation lies in realizing that peace does not depend on the world around you, but on how you choose to see and react to it. This is the essence of Stoic power, an unshakable freedom, even in the midst of storms. Think for a moment about how many times you have let yourself get carried away by anxiety in the face of situations that you could not change. Perhaps it was an argument, someone else's decision, or even an unexpected setback. Now, ask yourself, was it worth sacrificing your peace of mind for something that was ultimately beyond your control? Epictetus challenges us to break this cycle. He reminds us that the key to a more fulfilling life lies in a simple but powerful question: does it depend on me? If the answer is no, the solution is clear: let go. By letting go of what you cannot control, you're not ignoring reality but choosing not to carry a burden that is not yours. This practice is not an escape from problems but an act of courage and self-mastery. It means facing difficulties with a calm mind, recognizing that you always have a choice in how you respond. It is a change that requires effort, but the benefits are immense: less stress, more clarity, and a freedom that comes from within. Remember, your strength lies not in trying to control the world, but in mastering yourself. By adopting this perspective, you will find that many of the things that used to rob you of peace lose their power over you. After all, true power lies in your ability to decide how to interpret and react to what life brings. So the next time you feel troubled, stop, breathe, and ask yourself, do I have control over this? If not, choose peace. Not because the problem has disappeared, but because you have decided not to be held hostage by it. This is the legacy of Epictetus and the greatest gift of Stoicism: the freedom to live in balance, even when the world around you seems unstable. Embracing Stoicism involves more than just understanding its principles. It involves applying them every day, even in the smallest situations. Think of Stoic philosophy as a muscle that needs to be strengthened with constant practice. Small daily exercises can help you build the serenity and self-control you need to face life with more balance. A powerful practice is morning reflection. When you wake up, take a few minutes to think about what might happen during the day. Visualize challenges that might arise, such as arguments, unexpected events, or setbacks, and ask yourself, how will I choose to react to this? This mental preparation allows you to face events with greater calm and control. Another valuable practice in the evening is reviewing your day. Analyze the situations in which you manage to maintain serenity and identify where you can still improve. This process of continuous self-assessment is essential to integrating Stoic teachings into your routine. In addition, use visual reminders or short phrases that inspire Stoic thinking. Write down on a piece of paper and leave it out in plain sight: what's up to me? My peace is not for sale. These little anchors can help you stay focused on what matters throughout the day. Finally, remember that Stoicism is not about perfection but about progress. Every step, no matter how small, is a victory on the path to a lighter, more mindful life. When you practice Stoic philosophy, you're not only learning how to live better, you're inspiring others to do the same, creating a positive impact that extends beyond yourself. Stoicism is not something reserved for ancient or intellectual books. It is a practical tool, designed for those who seek to live with greater clarity and purpose, even in the midst of everyday challenges. Epictetus showed us that true strength comes from within, from the ability to respond with wisdom and serenity to what we cannot change. He laid out a path, but the journey is individual. It is up to you to take the first step. If this philosophy resonated with you, if you want to explore more ways to apply these teachings in your life, I invite you to join this community. Subscribe to the channel to follow more content that will help you transform your mindset, strengthen your resilience, and live with more balance. It is time to take control of what matters: your mind, your choices, and, above all, your peace.